of the vacation season. Tourists, unwilling to waste a moment of their precious time in Cornwall, were making their way along the main street, heading for the beach but pausing to watch the diversion outside the florist's shop. They couldn't quite figure out what was going on, but it looked interesting. One small boy, deeply tanned and wearing only white shorts, deck shoes and a camera slung around his neck, was even taking surreptitious photographs. "So why are you wearing a wedding dress?" she demanded, then flapped her arms in a gesture of dismissal. Maxine's explanations tended to be both dramatic and long-winded. "No, don't bother. Here's the £20. Can we go inside now, or are you really under arrest?" But Maxine, having whisked the money from her sister's grasp and popped the rolled-up notes into her cleavage, was already sliding back into the passenger seat of the police car. "My car's being held hostage," she said cheerfully. "Tom just has to take me to pay the ransom first, but we'll be back in 40 minutes. Tom, are you as hungry as I am?" "Well," Tom, who was always hungry, managed a sheepish grin. "There, you see, we're both absolutely starving," declared Maxine, gazing with longing at the array of switches studding the dashboard and wondering which of them controlled the siren. Then, fastening her seatbelt and flashing her sister a dazzling grin, she added, "But you mustn't go to too much trouble, darling. Just bacon and eggs will be fine." Tom, to his chagrin, was called away instead to investigate the case of a stolen parasol outside the Tresail Bay Hotel. "Toast and Marmite?" Maxine looked disappointed, but bit into a slice anyway. Rearranging her voluminous white skirts and plonking herself down on one of the wrought iron chairs on the tiny sunlit patio, she kicked off her satin shoes and wriggled her toes pleasurably against the warm flagstones. "Why don't you change into something less formal?" Janey, who was wearing white shorts and a primrose yellow camisole top, poured the coffee. "Where's your suitcase? In the car?" Maxine, having demolished the first slice of thickly buttered toast, leaned across and helped herself to a second. "No money, no suitcase," she said with a shrug. "No nothing. You'll just have to lend me something of yours." Janey had looked forward all week to this Sunday, when nothing was precisely what she had planned on doing. A really good lie-in, she thought, dryly, followed by hours of blissful, uninterrupted nothing. And instead she had this. "Go on, then," she said as Maxine stirred 3 heaping spoonfuls of sugar into her coffee cup and shooed away an interested wasp. "Tell me what's happened, and remember you woke me up for this, so it had better be good." She had to concede 10 minutes later that it was pretty good. 3 years at drama school might not have resulted in the dreamed-of glittering acting career, but Maxine certainly knew how to make the most of telling a story. In the course of describing the events of the previous night, her hands, eyebrows, even her bare feet became involved. "So, there we were, expected to arrive at this costume party in less than an hour, and bloody Maurice hadn't even remembered to tell me it was on. Well, being Maurice, he phoned his mother, and she was around in a flash with her old wedding dress tucked under her skinny arm. It's a Schiaparelli. Can you believe? So we ended up at this chronic company party as a bride and sodding groom, and everyone was snickering like mad, because the thought of us ever actually tying the knot was evidently too funny for words. And I realized then that they were right. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life pretending to be a dutiful banker's wife and having to socialize with a bunch of boring stuffed shirts. So I told Maurice it was over, and then I told the stuffed shirts and their smirking wives exactly what I thought of them too.